My brothers and sisters, listen to me. You may have walked through seasons of loss, of pain, of confusion, times when it felt like everything you built was torn down. Everything you dreamed slipped through your hands. You cried until there were no more tears. You prayed and wondered, God, where are you in all this? But I came to tell you today, God never forgot you. He never abandoned you. He was working behind the scenes, even in your silence, even in your sorrow. What looked like destruction was actually preparation. What looked like loss was transition. What looked like the end was the beginning of restoration. Because when God restores, He doesn't just give you back what you lost. He multiplies it. He makes it greater, stronger, deeper, and more anointed than before. You thought you were losing, but you were actually being positioned for promotion. So don't weep over what walked away. Don't mourn what fell apart. Lift your head, child of God, because restoration is coming. Your peace is coming back. Your joy is coming back. Your strength is coming back. Your purpose is coming back. But it's coming back greater. So open your heart today. Open your mouth and declare, I may have lost some things, but I'm about to gain something far greater. God is restoring me. Restoration is one of the most powerful expressions of God's love and grace. It means that no matter how broken, lost, or damaged something may seem, it is never beyond the reach of God's healing hand. Restoration isn't just about getting back what was taken, it's about being made whole again, stronger, wiser, and more spiritually grounded than before. When God restores, He doesn't simply return you to your starting point. He elevates you, refines you, and positions you for greater purpose. The pain of the past becomes the foundation for a new testimony, one that carries power, depth, and divine glory. Many people confuse restoration with replacement. They think God will just give them a new version of what they lost. But divine restoration goes far beyond that. When God restores, He breathes new life into what seemed finished. He takes what was broken, blesses it, and multiplies it. He redeems the time that was wasted, the energy that was drained, and the dreams that were delayed. What you thought was the end of your story becomes the most meaningful chapter. What you thought was a setback turns out to be a setup for something far greater than you imagined. You see, in life, there are moments when loss feels final. The door closes, the relationship ends, the opportunity fades, and you wonder if you will ever recover. But the truth is, God specializes in restoration. The same power that raised Jesus from the grave is working in your situation. He can resurrect hope that has died, rekindle dreams that have dimmed, and restore strength that has been depleted. Sometimes God allows loss not to punish us, but to prepare us, to strip away what was temporary, so He can give us what is eternal. Restoration also requires a shift in perspective. Before God restores your circumstances, He often restores your vision. He opens your eyes to see that what you lost was never the end, only a part of a divine exchange. You may have lost comfort, but you gained character. You may have lost relationships, but you discovered resilience. You may have lost time, but you gained wisdom. True restoration doesn't always look the way you expect. It's not always the same job, the same people, or the same path. But it is always better because it carries the mark of God's hand upon it. When God restores, He does it in abundance. Think about Job in the Bible. He lost everything, his family, his wealth, his health. But in the end, God restored him double for his trouble. That means for every tear you cried, there's a blessing waiting to meet you. For every disappointment, there's a divine appointment being arranged in your favor. You may not see it yet, but heaven is working on your behalf. Restoration may take time, but delay is not denial. God is faithful to complete what He started. Sometimes, restoration begins in the heart before it manifests in the physical world. God restores your peace first, your joy, your trust in Him. Because before He gives back what was lost, He wants to make sure your spirit is ready to handle the blessing. He wants you to remember that your value was never tied to what you had. It was always in who you are in Him. Once your identity is restored, once your faith is rebuilt, then everything else begins to fall into place. The job, the opportunities, the relationships, all of it aligns when your soul is healed. It's important to understand that restoration is a process, not an event. It doesn't always happen overnight. Just like a broken vessel being mended piece by piece, God works on you gently, patiently, perfectly. You may still see the cracks, but in God's hands, those cracks become lines of beauty. The Japanese art of kintsugi repairs broken pottery with gold, making it more valuable than before. That's what divine restoration does. It turns your scars into sacred art, your pain into purpose, your brokenness into beauty. So don't be discouraged if you're still waiting for your restoration. Every season of loss carries a seed of renewal. Every ending hides the beginning of something better. You may feel like you're standing in the ruins of what once was, but God is already drawing up new blueprints for your future. He's building something stronger, something that will not fall apart the next time the storm comes. He's restoring not just what you had, but who you are. Your confidence, your courage, your belief that better days are ahead. Restoration also teaches gratitude. When God brings you back from a season of brokenness, you learn to appreciate what you once took for granted. You see His hand in the smallest blessings. You worship not because everything is perfect, but because you've experienced His faithfulness in the fire. You realize that even in your lowest moments, He was carrying you. That's why restored people praise differently. They've seen too much, endured too much, and received too much grace to stay silent. Maybe you're in a place right now where everything feels lost. Maybe your heart is tired, your faith is thin, and your hope is fading. Hear this truth: God is not finished with you. He is the master restorer. He can rebuild what was torn down, reignite what burned out, and revive what has died. No mistake is too big, no season is too dark, and no loss is too deep for His power to reach. You are not disqualified by what you lost. You are being prepared for what's next. Restoration is God's way of reminding you that your story still matters, that your best days are not behind you, they are ahead of you, that what was meant to break you will become the very thing that blesses you. So lift your head. Dust off your faith. Speak life over your situation. Because the same God who restored Job, who healed the broken, who brought back what was lost, is still in the business of restoration today. And when He restores you, it will not just be a comeback, it will be a divine upgrade. Faith is the foundation of every journey with God. It is the invisible bridge that carries us over life's uncertainties, the anchor that keeps us steady when the winds of doubt and fear blow against us. Faith is not just believing that God exists. It is trusting that He is good, that He is able, and that He is working all things together for our good, even when we can't see the evidence yet. Faith is the language of heaven. It speaks yes when everything around us says no. It believes in the unseen, hopes in the impossible, and rests in the unchanging character of God. Faith begins where logic ends. It's easy to believe when everything is going well, when the path is clear, and when blessings are visible. But real faith is forged in the fire of uncertainty. It is tested in the seasons when prayers seem unanswered, when the doors remain closed, when silence fills the room where you once heard God's voice clearly. Faith says, even if I don't understand, I will still trust. Faith whispers, even if it doesn't happen the way I expected, God is still in control. Sometimes God allows our faith to be stretched so it can grow stronger. Like a muscle, faith develops under pressure. Every challenge, every trial, every disappointment becomes an opportunity to exercise trust. You can't have mature faith without moments that test it. It's easy to say, I trust God, when everything is working in your favor. But when life falls apart and you still choose to believe, that's when faith becomes powerful. That's when faith becomes real. Faith doesn't deny reality, it simply declares a greater truth. It doesn't ignore the mountain, it speaks to it. It doesn't pretend the storm isn't raging. It stands in the storm and proclaims, peace, be still. Faith doesn't remove fear instantly, but it keeps you moving forward despite it. It's not the absence of doubt. It's the decision to believe beyond doubt. You may not see the full picture, but faith reminds you that God sees the whole canvas. He knows the ending from the beginning, and He is working behind the scenes to turn what the enemy meant for evil into something good. Many people lose faith when their expectations don't match God's timing. But faith is not about control. It's about surrender. It's trusting that God's delays are not denials. He may not always come when you want Him to, but He always arrives right on time. Faith says, I will wait because I know what He promised is worth it. Waiting is not wasted when it's done in faith. While you wait, God is shaping your character, teaching you patience, and preparing your heart to handle what He's about to release. Sometimes faith looks like walking, even when you don't know where you're going. Abraham didn't have a map when God told him to go to a land He would show him. He just obeyed. That's what faith does. It steps out before the full instructions are revealed. It trusts that each step will make sense in time. Faith says, I don't need to see the whole staircase. I'll take the first step. And when you take that step, God meets you there. Faith also requires endurance. It's not a one-time decision, it's a lifestyle. There will be days when you feel strong and days when you feel weak. But faith isn't measured by how you feel. It's measured by your willingness to keep believing. Even if your faith feels small, remember that Jesus said faith as tiny as a mustard seed can move mountains. You don't need perfect faith. You just need persistent faith. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Keep standing on His word. Because what you feed grows. And when you feed your faith, your fear begins to fade. Faith thrives in relationship with God. It's not built on rituals or religion, but on intimacy. The more you know Him, the easier it becomes to trust Him. When you've seen His hand in your life, when you've watched Him make a way where there was no way, you begin to realize that faith is not blind. It's based on history. It's built on the memory of every miracle, every answered prayer, every time He pulled you through what you thought would break you. Faith looks back and says, He did it before, and He can do it again. A faith also produces peace. When you truly trust God, you stop striving. You stop trying to figure out every detail and fix every problem. You rest in the assurance that the One who spoke the universe into existence is holding your life together. That doesn't mean you won't face storms. It means you'll have peace in the middle of them. Because faith doesn't promise a life without trouble. It promises a God who is bigger than your trouble. There will be times when your faith feels weak, when fear shouts louder than your belief. In those moments, remember that even weak faith is still faith. God doesn't need perfection, He honors persistence. Peter walked on water because he dared to believe, even if only for a moment. Yes, he began to sink, but Jesus still reached out and saved him. That's the grace that accompanies faith. It's not about never falling, it's about knowing who to reach for when you do. Faith connects you to God's promises. It's the key that unlocks doors of blessing, healing, and breakthrough. Without faith, it's impossible to please God, not because He demands perfection, but because He desires trust. He wants you to believe that He is who He says He is. Faith brings heaven's reality into your earthly situation. It transforms despair into hope, obstacles into opportunities, and endings into new beginnings. No matter where you are in your journey, guard your faith. Feed it with God's Word. Surround yourself with people who encourage it. Speak life over it. Because faith is not fragile. It's a fire that grows stronger when tested. It will carry you through valleys, lift you over mountains, and keep you standing when everything else falls apart. So if you find yourself in a place where things don't make sense, don't give up. Faith was made for seasons like this. Believe that God is still writing your story. Believe that your waiting is not wasted. Believe that what you can't see yet is already being prepared. Because faith says, it's already done, even when your eyes say, it's impossible. And in the end, you'll see that faith was not just the road you walked. It was the very hand of God guiding you every step of the way. Resilience is the quiet strength that rises from the ashes of adversity. It is the power within the human spirit that refuses to quit, even when life feels unbearable. Resilience is not about never falling. It's about rising every time you do. It's the courage to keep going when your heart is broken, when the path is uncertain, and when the odds seem stacked against you. Resilience is the echo of divine strength inside of you that whispers, you can make it. It's not born in comfort. It's forged in hardship, in pain, in the long nights of waiting and wondering. But through every test, every tear, and every trial, resilience grows deeper, stronger, and more unshakable. Life has a way of knocking us down. You lose people you love. You face disappointments you didn't expect. You endure seasons where nothing seems to work the way you hoped it would. But resilience means you don't let those moments define you. You may bend, but you don't break. You may stumble, but you still move forward. Resilience says, I may be wounded, but I'm still here. It's the spirit that looks at pain and chooses perseverance. It's the inner resolve to keep standing when everything around you tells you to sit down and give up. Resilience doesn't mean you never feel fear or sadness. It means you refuse to let those emotions paralyze you. It means that even in the face of uncertainty, you choose to believe that something good can come from this. You choose to believe that God is not finished with you yet. True resilience is not denial. It's determination. It doesn't pretend everything is fine. It simply refuses to let what's broken steal your hope. When you are resilient, you can cry and still keep believing. You can struggle and still keep standing. You can lose everything and still whisper, I will rise again. Sometimes resilience is quiet. It's not always loud or dramatic. It's not always visible to others. It's found in the simple decision to get out of bed when your heart is heavy. It's found in the small steps you take toward healing. It's the whisper of prayer in the middle of the night when you feel alone. Resilience isn't about pretending to be strong. It's about trusting that strength will come when you need it most. It's about believing that your current pain is not your final destination. Resilience also comes from perspective. When you realize that storms don't last forever, you learn to endure them differently. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Every challenge carries a lesson. Every setback has a hidden purpose. Resilient people understand that adversity isn't there to destroy them. It's there to develop them. It refines character, strengthens faith, and deepens compassion. The things you survive shape the person you become. And often, what looked like a breaking point was actually a turning point. When life shakes you, resilience anchors you. It reminds you that your strength doesn't come from what you have, but from who you are and whose you are. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you respond. You may have been hurt, betrayed, or overlooked, but none of that can cancel your purpose. Resilience keeps your vision alive, even when your circumstances seem hopeless. It's the conviction that the story isn't over yet, that there is still more for you beyond this chapter of pain. There will be times when resilience feels impossible, when the weight of disappointment makes you want to quit. But that's when you must dig deep into your faith and remind yourself that every storm runs out of rain. Every wound eventually heals. Every season of struggle produces something valuable inside you. You become wiser, tougher, more compassionate, and more aware of your own strength. God doesn't waste pain. He uses it to prepare you for what's coming next. The same fire that burned you is the one that refines you. Resilience is not just survival. It's transformation. It's the process of becoming stronger because of what you've been through, not in spite of it. It's finding beauty in the ashes, purpose in the pain, and hope in the hardship. You may not have chosen your trials, but you can choose how to respond to them. And when you choose resilience, you choose victory. You choose growth. You choose to believe that no matter what comes against you, it cannot destroy the greatness within you. To be resilient, you must learn to release what you can't control. You can't always change the circumstances, but you can control your response. You can choose gratitude over bitterness, faith over fear, peace over panic. Resilience is built one choice at a time. It's built in the small moments, when you refuse to let the darkness win. Every time you rise after falling, every time you smile through pain, every time you forgive when you could have held a grudge, you are building resilience. You are proving that nothing can steal your spirit. Resilient people are not superhuman. They are simply determined. They know that progress is not always fast, and healing is not always linear, but they keep moving forward. They understand that the comeback is always greater than the setback. They realize that scars are not signs of weakness. They are symbols of survival. Those who are resilient walk with quiet confidence because they've been through enough to know they can handle whatever comes next. If you find yourself in a hard season right now, remember this: you've made it through everything you thought would break you. You have survived days you thought would never end. You have overcome battles that no one else even saw. That is resilience. It's not something you need to find. It's already inside you. You've been stronger than you realized, and you still are. Don't let the weight of this moment make you forget the power of your past victories. Resilience doesn't mean you won't feel pain. It means pain won't have the final say. It's the inner fire that keeps burning, even when the world grows cold. And when you look back on everything you've endured, you'll realize that the very storms that tried to break you were the same ones that built you. You'll see that every time you chose to rise, you became a little stronger, a little wiser, and a little more unstoppable. That's the power of resilience. It turns every defeat into fuel for your destiny. Renewal is the sacred process of being made new again, inside and out. It is the gentle work of God breathing life back into what has grown weary, dull, or broken. Renewal does not always happen in grand, dramatic moments. It often unfolds quietly, in the stillness of surrender, in the hidden places of the heart. It is not about becoming someone different, but about rediscovering who you truly are beneath the weight of pain, failure, or fatigue. Renewal is God's way of reminding you that you are not finished, that every ending can give birth to a new beginning, and that His mercy is new every morning. There are seasons in life when everything feels dry. The fire that once burned bright becomes a flicker. The passion you once carried feels faint. The days feel repetitive, and your spirit feels drained. You might still be functioning on the outside, working, showing up, smiling, but inside, something feels tired and empty. That's when the soul cries out for renewal. And the beautiful truth is that God hears that cry. He specializes in bringing revival to weary hearts. He knows how to refresh your mind, heal your emotions, and restore your spiritual strength. When you've given all you have and feel like you have nothing left, God steps in and fills you with new energy, new perspective, and new hope. Renewal begins with release. You cannot be renewed while still holding on to what's draining you. Sometimes, God allows certain things to fade away so He can make space for something better. Old habits, toxic relationships, painful memories. These must be released so that healing can begin. Renewal often requires letting go of what no longer serves your growth. It means trusting God enough to release your grip on what you thought you needed, so He can place in your hands what you truly need. The soil of your soul cannot produce new life if it's cluttered with the roots of old pain. Renewal also happens through stillness. We live in a world that glorifies business, always moving, always striving, always chasing. But constant motion can leave the soul exhausted. God often renews us in the quiet, in moments of rest where we stop trying to fix everything and simply sit in His presence. It's in that stillness that strength begins to return. Peace begins to fill the cracks. Clarity begins to rise. Renewal doesn't come from rushing. It comes from resting. The shepherd leads his sheep beside still waters, not raging ones, because stillness restores the soul. Sometimes renewal comes through brokenness. When life shatters our plans, it can feel like the end, but often it's the beginning of transformation. God uses the cracks in our hearts as entry points for His light. The pain that humbles us also prepares us. Renewal is not about erasing the past. It's about allowing God to rewrite it with purpose. He can take the same areas that once brought shame and turn them into testimonies of strength. You may have been through storms that nearly destroyed you, but those same storms have washed away what was false and revealed what is real. Out of the ruins, God builds something far more beautiful. Renewal also involves the mind. How you think determines how you live. If your thoughts are trapped in fear, regret, or negativity, your spirit will feel stuck. That's why Scripture reminds us to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Renewal starts with changing how you see yourself, your situation, and your God. It means replacing lies with truth, reminding yourself that you are loved, chosen, and capable of starting again. When you align your thoughts with God's promises, your entire outlook shifts. The same situation that once felt hopeless becomes an opportunity for growth. Renewal doesn't erase the past, but it redefines it. It gives meaning to the moments that once made you question everything. You begin to see that nothing was wasted. Every disappointment taught you endurance. Every delay developed patience. Every heartbreak deepened your compassion. Renewal turns pain into wisdom and struggle into strength. It allows you to look at your scars not as reminders of defeat, but as evidence of survival. You no longer carry your past as a burden. You wear it as a crown of lessons learned and grace received. To experience true renewal, you must also reconnect with your source. Just as a branch cannot bear fruit if disconnected from the vine, you cannot thrive if you're disconnected from God. Prayer, worship, and quiet reflection reconnect you to the one who sustains you. Renewal is not something you create on your own. It's something you receive. It's like standing in the sunlight after a long night. The warmth, the energy, the light begin to fill you naturally. The more time you spend in God's presence, the more your soul awakens. He restores what was weary, repairs what was broken, and revives what was fading. Renewal is also about purpose. When God renews you, He doesn't just make you feel better. He realigns you with your calling. He reminds you why you're here, what He placed inside you, and what you're meant to do next. The enemy tries to drain you so that you'll forget your purpose, but renewal restores your vision. You start to dream again. You start to hope again. You start to believe that you still have something valuable to give. Renewal gives you fresh passion for the future and new strength to pursue it. And finally, renewal is ongoing. It's not a one-time event, but a continuous journey. Just as the body needs daily nourishment, the soul needs daily renewal. Every sunrise is a reminder that yesterday's mistakes don't have to define today. Every breath you take is proof that you've been given another chance to live, love, and grow. Renewal invites you to keep evolving, to become softer, wiser, more compassionate, and more rooted in grace with each passing season. So if you find yourself tired, discouraged, or lost, don't give up. You're not at the end. You're at the threshold of renewal. The same God who brings spring after winter is bringing life back to you. The same God who turns deserts into gardens is watering your dry places. You may not see it yet, but beneath the surface, something is stirring. Your heart is healing. Your strength is returning. Your vision is awakening. And when God finishes His work of renewal in you, you won't just be restored. You'll be reborn, refreshed, and ready for the next chapter of your divine journey. Breakthrough is the moment when everything changes. The sudden shift after a long season of struggle. The divine turning point when the impossible becomes possible. It is not luck or coincidence. It is the manifestation of God's faithfulness after a period of endurance, testing, and trust. A breakthrough is not just a change in circumstance. It's a transformation in your spirit, a new awareness of what God can do through you and for you. It's the moment when the doors that seemed permanently shut swing wide open, when prayers that felt unanswered finally unfold in front of your eyes. But what makes a breakthrough powerful is not just its arrival. It's the process that prepared you for it. Breakthrough often begins in the dark. It doesn't arrive when everything feels easy. It comes after the storm, after the tears, after the waiting. Sometimes God allows delay because He's working on something deeper than your situation. He's working on you. He's strengthening your faith, building your resilience, and shaping your character so that when the breakthrough comes, you are ready to carry it. If the blessing came too soon, it might have crushed you. But when you've endured, when you've trusted through the pain, when you've learned to lean not on your own understanding, you are prepared to handle the weight of the promise. Many people pray for breakthrough, but struggle through the process. The truth is, every breakthrough is preceded by pressure. The seed has to push through the soil before it breaks into the light. The caterpillar must wrestle in the cocoon before it can fly. The pressure you feel is not punishment, it's preparation. It's God stretching your capacity so you can hold more of what He's about to release into your life. Don't curse the process, embrace it, because what feels like breaking is often birthing. Breakthroughs also require persistence. You can't stop pressing when the wall looks too high or the door too heavy. Many people give up right before their moment of release. You have to keep praying, keep believing, keep moving. Even if nothing seems to change, trust that something is shifting beneath the surface. Breakthrough is like dawn. It often arrives quietly after the darkest hour. Just when you think you can't take another step, God steps in. That's why you can't quit now. Your breakthrough may be closer than it looks. Faith plays a vital role in breakthrough. You cannot experience divine release with a defeated mindset. You must believe that change is possible, even when evidence says otherwise. Faith doesn't ignore reality. It invites heaven into it. When you choose to believe, you align yourself with the power of God, and that alignment creates movement. Miracles are birthed in atmospheres of faith. Sometimes the key to your breakthrough is not praying harder, it's believing deeper. It's standing on God's word and declaring, even if I can't see it, I know it's coming. There's also a powerful truth about breakthrough. It often begins within before it appears around you. Before God changes your situation, He often changes your heart. He shifts your perspective, renews your strength, and redefines your purpose. That internal breakthrough prepares the way for external blessing. If you are struggling to see results, ask yourself, what is God trying to break in me so that He can break through for me? Sometimes He has to break our pride, our fear, our doubt, or our dependency on people before He can release what He's promised. True breakthrough always begins with surrender. Breakthroughs come in many forms. Sometimes it's financial. A door opens that changes your provision. Sometimes it's emotional. The weight you've carried for years finally lifts. Sometimes it's spiritual. You find peace after seasons of confusion or clarity after years of silence. Whatever form it takes, breakthrough always brings freedom. It's the moment when what held you bound loses its power. When you've prayed, cried, and waited, and suddenly the burden shifts. It's like breathing again for the first time. But breakthrough is not only for your benefit, it's also for God's glory. He wants the world to see His power through your story. The testimony that comes from your breakthrough will inspire others who are still in their waiting season. That's why you can't give up. The story isn't just about you. When you walk in your breakthrough, others will see that if God did it for you, He can do it for them too. Your victory becomes someone else's hope. There is also a posture for breakthrough. It's a combination of expectation, humility, and obedience. Expectation means living as though you know it's coming, worshiping, preparing, and thanking God in advance. Humility means acknowledging that you can't make it happen by yourself. It's His power that will do it. Obedience means following His direction, even when it doesn't make sense. Sometimes your breakthrough is hidden in a simple act of obedience. A phone call you're afraid to make, a step of faith you're hesitant to take, or a door you're unsure about walking through. When you trust and obey, breakthrough follows. There will be moments when it feels like heaven is silent, when you've done all you know how to do and nothing seems to change. In those moments, remember this silence is not absence. God is not ignoring you. He's orchestrating the details. Breakthroughs are often being built in the background. Just because you can't see, it doesn't mean it's not happening. The wall didn't fall after Joshua's first lap around Jericho. It fell after the seventh. Consistency brings collapse to strongholds. Keep marching, keep believing, keep expecting. When breakthrough finally comes, it changes everything. It brings clarity where there was confusion, peace where there was turmoil, and joy where there was sorrow. But even more importantly, it deepens your relationship with God. You come out of it not just with a blessing, but with a deeper trust in His power and a stronger understanding of His timing. You realize that what you thought was a delay was really divine protection, and what you thought was loss was actually preparation for greater gain. If you are in a place of waiting right now, standing on the edge of breakthrough, don't lose heart. The ground beneath you is shifting, even if you can't feel it. Every prayer, every tear, every act of faith is building momentum. God is aligning people, opportunities, and circumstances to bring you into a new season. Breakthrough is not just coming, it's already in motion. And when it arrives, it will make sense of everything you've endured. You'll look back and say, now I understand why I had to go through that. Because the struggle was necessary, the waiting was holy, and the breakthrough was worth every moment of faith. As we come to the end of this message, let this truth settle deep in your heart. Our God is not finished with you. Everything you've walked through, the pain, the loss, the silence, the waiting, was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you. Every tear watered the soil of your destiny. Every setback was a setup for something greater. You may have thought you were forgotten, but heaven has not been silent about you. God has been working behind the scenes, arranging the right people, the right timing, and the right opportunities to bring restoration, renewal, and breakthrough into your life. So today, lift your head and open your heart. Believe again, dream again, hope again. Because Assyria's what you lost is not gone forever. It's coming back greater. Your faith is being renewed. Your strength is being restored. And your story is being rewritten by the hand of grace. When you walk out of this moment, don't walk out defeated. Walk out with the confidence that the God who started a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. The same power that raised Jesus from the dead is breathing life into your situation right now. So declare it with boldness. I am not broken. I am being restored. I am not finished. I am being refined. I am not losing. I am stepping into my greater season. Your restoration is on the way. Your faith is still alive. Your resilience has built your strength. Your renewal has awakened your spirit. And your breakthrough is closer than you think. God is restoring you. And what's coming will be greater than what was lost.